This is a great sounding guitar, this Gibson 00. And playing it, it kind of reminds me of years ago. While this is not a mail order guitar, it kind of has that look, you know. It's one of the reasons why I love it so much is that tobacco sunburst. But I was thinking today about picks and things that I have, you know, that I'll use. Like, for instance, sometimes when I'm fingerstyle, I'll use a thumb pick. But I didn't always use a thumb pick, and I still don't always use a thumb pick. But they're nice because you can pick up that bass sound. But we couldn't afford picks when I was a kid, or maybe we just never thought about buying them because we could take a matchbook cover. There's plenty of matches everywhere. They don't give those out anymore, but every place you went, they were giving out matches with the name of their company on it. So you'd take the cover and you just, you know, snap it off and fold it up, and you got yourself a guitar pick. That worked pretty good. In fact, if you were into slide, I know some people that would break the top off of a pop bottle and melt it down and stick their finger up into it, and they'd use that glass to do the slide guitar. So there was many different ways you'd get sound out of your guitar without having to buy things like picks. You know, like here's a pick here. This is a blue chip. I think my parents would roll over in their grave if they knew how much I paid for that thing. But it's a great pick. Now I can't use it. There, it came out somehow. All right, I also remember I left home at a real young age. Problems in the home, of course. It happens to some of us. And so I found that I was traveling all over the United States in going by thumb. And this one particular time, I was traveling with two other people. We weren't bad kids. We didn't get into trouble. We weren't stealing or doing stuff like that. We really were out for adventure. And truly, we did get adventure hitchhiking around this country. And I remember I had my guitar with me. I had my knapsack with a few items in it, a few pieces of clothing so I could change out clothing and wash them someplace, my other set. And I had my guitar, didn't have a case at all. And we got into a car in Montana. The driver was a very nice fellow, but his car was kind of a heap. It was really a mess. I remember getting back there and trying to get three of us into actually two in the back seat and one in the front. And he asked us, hey, you want to go play guitar someplace? I see you have a guitar, and I know some people that like to play, and we can get together and play. Of course, I was always love that. That'd be great, because you never know what you're going to learn. And so as we got in the car and I was sitting in the seat, he turned around and he looked at me. He said, watch out for my pet snake. It stays down there right by your feet. And I'm like sitting there thinking, oh no. So there was no seatbelt, so I was able to pick my feet up and hold them as close as I could to my body and hold my guitar in front of me, hoping that snake didn't come out while we drove into a place called Red Lodge, Montana. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to Red Lodge, but has a very small population. In fact, it still does, I understand. At the time, they probably about 2,000 people living there. But a majority of the people lived in the dump because they couldn't afford housing. They lived in the dump simply because there was enough materials there to build shacks and different things that they could stay out of the weather and sleep in. And then so they lived there, and then they worked in the pea factory. And I got a chance to, next day that I was there, go and tour the pea factory at Red Lodge, Montana. It was a canning company. I guess they didn't just can peas, but that's what they called it when they talked to me about it. Said it was the pea factory. They canned other things as well, I understand, like beans and spinach. But I did get a chance to do that. But while I was there at the dump in Red Lodge, we sat on a hill. It was the 4th of July. We got to watch fireworks, and we sat around and we all played guitar and shared different thoughts and tricks about the guitar. And it was just a blast just to talk about it. There was one thing I had already learned a little bit about, and that was this finger style of picking. And basically it was really came down to simple, but simple isn't always easy. You have to practice it. But what you do is you take these 3 fingers and you dedicate them to the bottom 3 strings. That's where they belong. You stay there. In fact, to get used to it, it's probably good just to take those 3 fingers and alternate them and just work at it. Just leave your thumb dormant for a little bit until they get used to the fact that they belong to those 3 strings. Your brain and your fingers have to connect. Now, my brain and fingers still don't connect sometimes, but I work at it and have fun with it. And then your thumb is dedicated to the bottom 3 strings, the bass strings, E, A, D. And so now, knowing that is to practice, start slow. And just go till you get used to it. And it just sounds great when you're playing different things. Even to this day, sometimes I don't like using a thumb pick. I just get more sound out of the guitar with it, so I just kind of make myself, because I didn't play like that. I didn't have a thumb pick back then. So I would use the flesh of my thumb, and I'd kind of pick the string up to get that sound. There we have it. If you want to learn a little bit fingerstyle, dedicate these 3 fingers and start practicing just picking those 3 strings on the bottom, G, B, E, B, G, E, and then practice with the thumb for the bottom strings, the bottom 3 strings, E, A, D, and then put them together. Just practice that over and over again until you get a little bit faster. Start slow. Be patient. Eventually your brain will connect to your fingers. Well, thank you. And I hope you all enjoy practicing that, and enjoy your day or night wherever you are in this world. God bless.